As we reported earlier, 3CDC is taking the lead in finding a developer for a new headquarters hotel for downtown Cincinnati. City, county, and tourism leaders have long wanted to replace the aging Millennium Hotel, which is next to the convention center. They say the lack of a strong convention hotel cost the city a lot of business. Julie Calvert is CEO of the Convention and Visitors Bureau. She joins Business Courier publisher Jamie Smith in the studio to talk about the significance of this step and potential impact for the region.
Julie, thanks so much for being here today.
Thanks, Jamie. It's good to see you.
Now, we've obviously had several hotels open up over the last few years, some boutiques, some regular chains, some nice hotels down on the banks. Why was this announcement a big deal to you guys?
Well, you're right, there have been a lot of hotels that have opened, and it's been great for the community, great for the convention business. But what we're talking about here is a headquarter hotel. We are talking about a hotel that's connected to the convention center, where convention groups that we consider citywide, which sell at the city, can come and self-contain in that hotel, which then creates opportunities for business in the other hotels. But it's a big deal because we have been a little challenged in that area really for the past 10 years in terms of having a headquarter hotel that is competitive with our competitive cities, and we can talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. So what's the process going to look like moving forward? What's your timeline? You know.
Well, 3CDC's taking the lead on this for sure. We certainly will support them, as will the Port Authority. We'll support them as well. But we hope to get the RFP out on the street by the end of next week. We're working with a company called HVS Global, which is the preeminent hotel consultancy, to actively market the RFP. So we're not just sitting, waiting, begging for business to come or hotels to come, but really looking at what companies do we want, what types of products do they have in their portfolios.
Right, the premier companies.
That's right.
That's what we want.
Because when you look around at our competitive set, I mean, you've got a brand new Hilton, up in Columbus. You've got a really great Omni Hotel, down in Louisville. You've got a JW Marriott in Indianapolis. So we need to have that top brand because that's what the meeting planners are looking for, and that's what the expectation is.
Absolutely. You think this is going to have some impact on the Millennium? Potential buyers of the Millennium, or do you think they'll sit back?
Who's to know, right?
History says, right? Yeah, absolutely.
Our focus is really about a new headquarter hotel and really less about the Millennium at this point. I mean, we actively work with the Millennium. They're members of our organization. They've joined us on sales missions as recently as a month and a half ago to DC. So what's going to happen there is what's going to happen. But for us to really, as an organization, to be able to bring the types of conventions that this community deserves. And
you talked a little bit about some of these other hotels that have opened in Columbus, Indy, and other cities. Some of those have had public funding. Is that correct?
That's right.
And is there an opportunity for us to get public funding?
Well, the way that works in some of the other cities is there is when you buy a hotel room, you rent a hotel room, there's a tax on that hotel room. It's called a transient occupancy tax. In a lot of these hotels that are publicly owned, it's the tax that hotel is generating, which is actually paying for the hotel. So it's not like we're raising a sales tax, we're not raising a property tax. There's taxes already in place that people from out of town come in and pay in our community that we benefit from. And if there was an opportunity for that, that's where that would come from.
Yeah. Now, what kind of impact will this have? Will it have an impact on the type of conventions that would come here? More of them? What's the change going to be?
Absolutely. That's exactly what it is. Right now, we're for the past few years, we've been bringing in smaller groups. Because we don't have the space and we don't have the room in the hotels to bring in those big citywide conventions. So we're forced to go and look at groups that are maybe 5,000 to 6,000 people at a time versus the 10,000 to 15,000 at a time. You get a headquarter hotel in with 800 rooms, a minimum of 60,000 square feet of exhibit space, a meeting space, and now you're talking competition really well with Columbus, Chicago, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, others. And instead, those conventions are bypassing Cincinnati and going to those cities, sadly, and they want to be here. But they can't. We just can't accommodate the space right now. But then the smaller meetings are good. I mean, don't get me wrong. All business is good. But when you look at the amount of investment that's gone in downtown and across this region, that only gets sustained by big conventions.
Well, as you can see, I have my Flying Pig jacket on as a board member. I'll be at the convention center all afternoon today, working, all weekend long. And I think that's one of the things that I hear as these out-of-towners come in is, it's just too bad that it's not right here, you know, that we can stay right here, because they're staying all over town because we bring so many people in this
And there's,
weekend.
yeah, all over the region. I mean,
Yeah.
really, all points north and south.
Well, thank you so much for continuing to lead the charge. I know it's in good hands, and I know we're going to see great things out of it.
Thanks, Jamie.
Thanks. Peg?